always
And
fun.
welcome, Judy, Jonathan, and Joyce. I went in that order. However, you were the lead child, right?
I was. Somebody had to be.
And she leads well. That's good. She has done that well.
So the birth order would be Joyce,
And then Jonathan.
and
And Judy.
And the
Judy.
baby.
That's right.
And no other siblings.
No. No more babies.
And the three of you sing like birds, and the world loves it.
We have fun.
You know, the great thing about doing these best of, you artists are so kind. I asked you to come in and sit for 3 or 4 or 5 hours, and you usually get to sing maybe 1 or 2 songs. But when you put that over, what, 16, 17 years?
Right.
It's crazy.
I mean, there have been a lot of
moments.
Martin cuts, and they've always been fun. Was that exciting to sing at Carnegie Hall?
Yes, sir.
Amazing.
And you know what? Were the people warm?
They were. It was a very receptive audience. It was a really fun night.
Were you afraid?
I was
A little
scared to
bit.
death.
Were you?
I think because of the significance of the building more than
Yeah.
anything. Because we'd been working with you guys and I'd been around all those wonderful people so many times, but just knowing where you are
Yeah.
was a little nerve-wracking.
You know what? I was frightened until I looked out and I saw Jake
Yeah.
and I saw George behind me, and I thought, man,
We got it.
We got this. Yeah.
we can get this done. You know, if you folks have a signature song, it's that beautiful arrangement that you do of the doxology. One of the first things that you ever did, not the very first, but quite good. The first time you did it was down in Texas.
That's right.
That's right.
Now, you talk about a crowd. I think it held about 13,000 people, and the tickets were gone. And I think in one day the tickets were gone, so they added a matinee in the
Right.
afternoon. Mm-hmm. And with a bunch of great Texas fans, you did the doxology. You know, you folks grew up in the country. Where was it in Arkansas or Louisiana or on the line?
It was right on the line.
Actually, Joyce and I were born in Louisiana, but we were raised in Arkansas.
So
Way out in the country. Dad was actually born and raised on that property. He was one of 11 children.
Yeah.
And the little farmhouse that was there had no electricity, no running water, and that's where we lived for 3.5 years, just like that.
A lot of memories.
and that's where you found got your love for hunting, right?
That's right. I love to hunt. I would come home from school, do my homework and my chores, and get my dog and hit the woods and hunt squirrels all evening.
Do you still hunt?
I do love to hunt. I do.
You know, it's interesting with you. I mean, you're country kids, but your harmonies are quite sophisticated.
Are we sophisticated?
He didn't say we were.
Oh,
He
that's
said
right.
our
Harmonies.
yeah.
The fun thing about these, folks, you can take them out anywhere. And for instance, if I say harmony, I mean, take that and go somewhere with it. I mean, you're going to get instant harmony. I don't care, and sometimes it can be sophisticated. Sometimes it can be simple. We were in Hawaii,
Yes.
and we said we just need a verse or so of "It Is Well with My Soul." Do you know that? And they said, "Yeah, we know it. We'll sing it for you." And here they are singing it for you.
It is well.
It is well
with my soul.
With my soul,
It is well. It is well with my soul.
Now, we didn't have the waves behind you and the rocks of Hawaii. What is your earliest memory of singing together?
my earliest memory is when we lived in California. And when we would go to Sunday school, they would teach us these little Sunday school songs. And I remember us getting on chairs in our living room and singing, "Jesus is knocking at your door." Do y'all remember doing that?
I do not.
I do. That's mine.
Did I write that?
Probably.
It was amazing. You know what? Vestal,
Yeah.
one of my favorite people.
Yeah.
in the whole wide world.
She would always say, "Baby doll, when you get off that stage tonight, you come to Mama's bus. I'm gonna feed you."
And it was good,
too.
wasn't
And it was good. It was
Always.
good. But she also fed us spiritually. A lot of times
yeah.
she would pray for me and through some hard times and stuff. Because she always knew.
Yeah.
She could tell. The Lord just gave her that ability to know when you were kind of had a struggle in your life, and she would pray with you and encourage you. Good memories.
The first time I guess you sang in front of Vestal and Howard and
Yes.
and Jake and George and all those was very close here in Studio C.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Who
It was-
brought you in?
Michael and Mark had met with us and talked with us.
Yeah.
We went at a rehearsal the night before. Y'all were at a church.
Yeah.
Right.
And we went, Miss Gloria came out into the lobby, and we went in the bathroom
Yeah.
and sang for her.
Was it girls or boys bathroom?
It was the girls' bathroom. It was.
Yeah, Mark put his head in and said, "Is anybody in here?" And then we.
It was all empty,
Yeah,
so we
that's
went right
We
in.
did.
And I remember both Mark and Gloria said, "Hey, you've got to let these kids." Everybody's always asking, how do I get on the videos?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And it's not really a matter of sending in tapes and all of that because you can't listen to all of that. And I usually tell them the truth. It's usually me listening to somebody who said, whether it's Michael or Jeff
Yeah.
Easter saying,
Yeah.
you need to hear these people.
Well,
And
Michael was a huge encouragement to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember being so nervous, Bill. I had never sung in front of those people before.
And ironically, the song that we sang, we had never sung it a cappella before.
You serious?
We actually had recorded it on an album years ago.
Jonathan arranged it.
And Michael told us, now when we go up there, Bill's time is very limited, and if he hears you sing, we can't wait for a track to come on.
Yeah.
So let's do something a cappella.
Yeah.
And we were like, we can't do it a cappella. Are you kidding me? It's like, yeah, you can. You can do
You
it.
can do it.
And we did
He
it.
worked with us, and we had it ready just in case.
Yeah. And there was something about that early excitement. It was still all so new. And it was fun for every taping to try to pull out a new rabbit out of the hat. You were the rabbit on
Well, we were a very nervous little rabbit. If you watch close, you'll see Joyce's lip quivering.
But at the same time, they were such an affirming bunch,
Right.
weren't
Oh,
they? I mean, they would affirm you. It's a little bit like Black Church. When I've been in Black Church and a young kid comes up and sing, it's no wonder that so many
cheering
great,
on,
the great singers come out of the
That's
Black
right.
Church because
Yeah.
the old saints cheer them, encourage them, and that group was much
You know
like
what?
that.
Glenn Payne was one of the most encouraging souls.
Yeah.
He didn't even have to really like the style of music you were singing.
Yeah.
But if you were doing it with all your heart, buddy, he was the biggest cheerleader you could have.
And it was fun to watch his body language because he'd duck his head and go,
Right.
they're really good, That had to be fun for you.
It was very
Absolutely.
fun. And from that point on, to me, the relationships and the encouragement that came from that room and from that circle of friends, as it became to be,
Yeah.
is priceless.
It really is.
That's a Stuart Hamlin song. And, of course, Gloria and I love Stuart Hamlin. And to do that with Vestal, and She Loved You Kids, and I think the bringing together the ages, bringing together the different ethnic groups was just a wonderful experience. And that certainly happened with the homecoming, and I'm proud of
Well,
that.
I know for me personally, it's been such an education.
Yeah.
Not only being on stage and being able to sing, do what we love with these people who love to do the same thing, but the camaraderie and being able to visit with them, and I feel like I grew up with them. And to have that privilege, to have that kind of wisdom, and not only in spiritual things, but just things in general, I'm so thankful for it.
Well, we had ourselves some hair, didn't we?
Oh, I didn't have a friend in the world.
Yeah, you did, and they was all wearing the same hair.
There you go.
You know, the fun part about doing these best of series, every artist has sat in that chair and said, I can't believe I wore that.
That's
Oh, mercy.
That is so good. You know, the interesting thing about your group as compared to other singing groups is that family groups don't change much. You've had the same personnel.
Same three faces. That's right.
Pretty much. Pretty much. That makes it nice.
Makes it good, and probably on a given day, it's not so good.
True.
Yeah, and people ask us all the time, do you really love each other as much as it looks like?
Yeah.
And we absolutely do, but we fight like cats and dogs.
Sure.
Because anytime we're passionate people, very, very intense people.
Yeah.
So yeah, we fight. Not near as much as we used
gosh,
to.
yeah,
We've
that's-
grown up a lot.
Three creative minds trying to be all creative at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, that is an interesting point. You don't fight as much as you used to, and that's a wonderful point in growth.
Absolutely.
Because in growth, you finally learn how to get those things that you disagree on
Yeah.
out on the table and say, now, can we rationally
Absolutely.
Yeah.
look at this and see what we can do to make it work, right?
Well, and I was such a control. I'm the oldest.
Yeah.
And I'm that control freak, and I want
understand.
everything, the perfectionism.
Yeah.
And I have been able to so respect who they've become as
Yeah.
artists and as people, and realize that it adds to so much of the ideas that I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to take that.
She's grown so much. You're proud of her.
I probably have grown the most just to relax and let it happen. It's a beautiful thing.
Well, and I think it took us being apart,
Right.
for me personally, to get to a place where I felt comfortable with myself.
Yeah.
To realize that I did have some of the things that I relied more than 100% on her to do and on him to do. Realizing that I could do those things myself has helped me so much. And now now that we're back together and that this is what we're doing, I just feel so much more complete because I'm comfortable with her strengths instead of being threatened by them.
In all fairness to her, it's the oldest child syndrome. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm the oldest child, and I sang with my brother and sister. I will never forget the day when my brother came into my office and said, I am tired of you running my life. To which I said, guilty, but I think you're so much better off, Daddy, because I
Oh,
I
man.
think part of growing up and being part of what siblings do together, it's learning, you know what buttons to push,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
to aggravate or to frustrate or to get somebody on edge. And I think the growing up part learns what not to push.
Yeah.
You know, and those
Not to
timing of
push
those
'em.
things, not to
That's
push them.
right.
Exactly.
That's good.
So that's the growing up part.
Thank you for quitting
Pushing your
my
buttons.
buttons. Yeah.
You know, I've often said there are two kind of performers: those who are quite secure, and you are certainly one of them.
Yes.
One of them, Joyce. And then those who are not quite secure. And I put Michael English in that category. I put myself in that category. I mean, you and Mark and Sandy Patty walk into any room knowing the world is going to love you. I think Michael and I and a few other people walk into the room saying, I hope they like that.
I hope they like
Now,
me.
which category are you in, Jeff?
I'm a hopeful person.
Are you Judy, what kind of category are you
I'm
in?
probably hopeful as well.
Yeah, and you feel more confident with her because, and I don't know what, and I've studied artists and performers for a long time. Kim Hopper is
Yeah.
totally secure,
Absolutely.
in what she does.
You know what? I don't feel like I can do anything else well. I feel insecure in a lot of areas
A lot of other
my
things,
life.
but you do-
yes.
but you do
But
thi-
I know that I can do this, and I go out there and do it.
Well, the little girl from Arkansas on the stage right there at the Kennedy Center looked like she had everything in control of me.
Right. I mean, even to this day, I tend to, whenever we're singing, if I'm wanting to make sure things are going right,
Yeah,
I look that direction
yeah.
instead of towards Judy. It's just a
Yeah.
thing that I do.
Do you ever look out in the third or fourth or fifth row and you see somebody out there with his hands like this?
Sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Does that bother you?
You know, it used to bother me bad. I think now that I'm older, it just makes me want to either do better or finally find that part of my testimony. I'll try to watch and make sure when you finally crack that hard shell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, when you finally get there.
It's more of a challenge.
Exactly.
When you were kids, did you ever think that this kind of thing would happen to you?
I didn't. I mean, I knew I wanted that we probably would sing.
Yeah.
We'd be singing somewhere, but I had no idea that it would take us from an outhouse to the White House. You know, had no idea. I remember, one of the things I do remember, as we were teenagers traveling, we were not too far from Memphis, Tennessee. We would go through Memphis a lot as we would head east. And I remember when they built the pyramid there. You know, and as they were building it, I asked our mom, I said, "Mom, what are they building?" She said, "Well, it looks like it's going to be a big arena for concerts and sports and stuff." And I was like, wow, one day maybe I can sing there.
And you did.
And I did.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
I always wanted to teach. When I was a junior in high school, between my junior...
She's want to tell people what to do.
Shut up. How to do it.
But I actually had all my courses all decided for college because I wanted to actually teach literature and English in college. That was my goal, to do that.
Yeah.
And we were singing so much even at that time, by the time I was a junior in high school, that we were missing enough school that they wouldn't let us come to school. They were going to fail us. And so we started doing homeschooling, and Mom and Dad told us, we need to pray about this because you've either got to do one or the other. And we don't care which way you go. Whatever your heart is leading you to do, we're going to support you in that. And we decided that summer, between my junior and senior year, that we would sing. And so we started doing homeschooling, and my college dreams kind of fell to the wayside, and God's perfect plan for my life started happening.
Well, the people all know that you did take some time off and needed time off. And there are times with anybody you say, yeah, I can't see the forest for the trees.
Right.
And you took some time off, about 4 or 5 years? And
Right.
I suppose there were some folks saying, are they still singing? You know?
Right.
And for that time, you were not. But where do you go from here? It's good to have you back, and it's good to have you on the road with us because, oh my lands, the quality is so great. Where do you go from here?
Man.
I think we have felt a shift once we got back on the road in the thrust of the message.
Yeah.
And our message now is, life is tough, we have experienced it, but Jesus will get you through it.
Yeah.
Good.
And that those relationships, and I think that where we go from here is just to keep being honest and standing on a stage every night and saying, we don't have it all together.
Right.
We haven't figured this out.
But that's why he came.
Yeah.
And that's why we need Jesus.
So I think the message has always been that God is faithful.
Yeah.
But now there's a little more meat on that bone. You know what I'm saying? There's a little more substance to the true feeling of knowing that is true, that God is faithful. And from here, I just see I want us to be faithful.
Yeah.
Just to go where God wants us to go where what He has for us.
And for me personally, and I think I see the same thing with them as well, but for me, it has come to life for me, the scripture that says that we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And so I get out there and sing and say what we say for those people, but honestly, I do it for me too.
Right.
Because the more I get out there, the healthier I feel, and the closer I feel to being able to be what He needs me to be on a daily basis when I'm home just being a mom.
You know, as Christians, probably there's no theme that has been written about more or sung about more, I guess because we all need it so badly. Sing that old chorus, Grace, Grace, God's grace.
Grace, grace, God's grace, grace that will pardon and cleanse within. Grace, grace, God.
Grace that is greater than all our sin.
It is greater.
And we're all recipients of it, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
There are several defining moments where grace was shown in the room. But the first time Michael English came back to sing with his friends after he had spent some time in the far country, it was a beautiful moment. He sang, Lord, Feed Your Children, remember?
Yes, sir.
And then you sang another song on grace. What was the name of it?
Except for Grace. Jeff Sylvie.
I love it.
Yep. Great song.
Moments. It's one thing to sing songs long enough until you finally understand what they're saying, right?
I was actually thinking that when we were listening, because I mean we had lived a little bit of life at that point, but none of us had any idea how much grace we were going to need coming up very soon, because all hell broke loose pretty soon after that, and we all kind of took our turn having trouble, but we've been through it, not unlike anybody else. But those songs that we've sung for years,
And we meant them.
we meant every
Yeah.
word then,
Yeah.
but they are so much more richer now, knowing that I could not do it.
Yeah.
Except for grace, I couldn't do it. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for Jesus.
If you were to sing something now, what would you sing?
Softly and tenderly, Jesus is calling, calling for you and for me. See on the portals he is waiting and watching, watching for you and for me. Come home, please come home, come home. Ye who art weary, come home, please come home. Earnestly, tenderly, Jesus is calling, calling, oh sinners, hear him, oh sinner, come. Hear him, oh sinner, come home.
This is good. This is good. You know, I keep trying to tell young kids, we sing the old hymns, not because they're old,
That's right.
but because they survived. And they still say things that are very, very important to generation after generation after generation.
That's right.
It's true.
And you kids have been there, and it's been a fun journey, hasn't it?
Absolutely.
It really is.
Lots of good memories.